Now it's hey, there we go. Okay, so we've got 3 live bodies in here. Do you guys want to move up so we can? No, everyone's gonna sit. We got the back row. Okay, so this goes a lot easier if you have a copy of the facilitator guide. We didn't print them because they're 75 pages each. But for all of these courses, if you go into your command profile, go into connect, and just in the search bar, put 36-12-3, all of the resources will pop up. And you'll be able to, whether it's this class, the second class we're doing within this class, next week's class, all of that will be there. You can get access to the slides, you can get access to the facilitator guide so you know what we're saying, or you can get access to your own guide, the participant guide, and I'm going to make reference to that. So we've got the presentation. Joey's going to help me go through the slideshow on the Zoom, and then I'm going to be in the facilitator guide as well, because there's a lot of lessons that the slides go to. So the idea with this class is we have a brief conversation and then you dig into the facilitator guide or the participant guide. Given our time frame and the fact that there's just a handful of us, I think we can just keep it casual. We can keep it collaborative, and I think the more interactive it is, the easier it'll be. I was not given a textbook, I was not given a script, so we're just going through this process together. So Joby, if we switch, we're going to jump through to slide 6. Oh, we already jumped through it. All right, let's go back.
It says you need to buy it.
No, you're not going to buy it. You're going to click on, here, I'll sign in with you. So connect.
Yep.
We put in 36-12-3. And then on the KW University lead generation, the first one that pops up.
Yep.
And then you scroll down. I'm wondering maybe if I have special access, but no, it's my personal account. And then under all assets. You see that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then it's got a student manual, Power of 1 version 1.4.
Yeah.
Once we all have our participant guides, we can all kind of follow along and have the same conversations.
I should bring my laptop.
That's okay.
Just look here.
Catch up.
Which one are we supposed to put on?
Student manual, intro, Power of 1.
Got it.
Then I've got the facilitator guide copy. You're going. All right, so we start with a basic introduction, as you can imagine. We're asking for participation, we're asking you to pay attention, we're asking you to get involved, ask questions. Follow along in the participant's guide if you can. There is no reference, and this is the thing that I thought confusing preparing for this. There's no reference to the participant guide within the slides. So I tried to orchestrate, hey, this slide is talking about page such and such. Didn't work out. So we're just going to go through it all together. We've got some general rules. And we're going to go right to the ground rules, arrive on time. This is, again, designed as a class format. So every week we'll be having these sessions for the next 12 weeks. And the whole concept here is that it's going to build off of the foundation. First today is an introduction, and then we're going to move into class 2, which we're going to be talking about positioning and building validity in the market. Okay, so you don't have the student manual, but you will.
I'll have it next week.
Have it next week for the next class. As we build, the classes become certainly more entertaining, more stimulating, and more particular. If we can carry on. Oh, there we go. So we've got the accountability method here. So we're going to start by setting goals, right? Then we're going to move to do the key activity, and you're going to be given lessons on these key activities at each class. And at the end, the theory is you'll have this massive outline for how you're going to run your business. So I would encourage everybody to try to participate in each class. If you're gonna miss a class, log into Command Connect, download the course material yourself. Maybe run it through an AI, give yourself a summary, turn it into a video, whatever you'd like to do, just so you can keep up with these things.
Is it worth it if I have to leave in 30 minutes?
I don't know, it's a good question, is it worth it? That would be a personal decision. Right?
I'll stay for 30.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about this class, we're gonna talk about the function of it, talk a little bit about Gary Keller, a little bit about not the one thing, but the one. And take it from there. Measure your results, again, in future classes, we're gonna be getting the tools within our participant guides that give us our charts, so that we can keep track of things. Sample schedules, all kinds of interesting tools that we can use and utilize. And then we move on to the evaluation process, and then we make adjustments. And this is a circle. As we can see, it goes around and around. You never stop the cycle, right? Every market changes, every season changes, every client changes, your business changes and evolves over time. So the circle is to imply that you just keep repeating the process until you get to a point where it's completely refined. Okay. All right, can we go to the next, okay, we're already jumping ahead. Okay, so why you are here. So the biggest thing we talk about in our business, and Gary's talked about it since the beginning of time, is the roller coaster that we all go through. And depending on your, sorry, I'm just getting confused, getting pulled out of my facilitator. Be a lot easier if I could manage the slides, but that is okay. I just have to make sure I'm saying. Do we have different slides, Jody? Where are you? I want to follow along. Sorry, guys. I just want to follow along with the slides. Right on time. Okay. Now we're good. All right. So the 36-12-3, as we talked about before, refers to 36 closed transactions in 12 months, doing only 3 hours a day of lead generation. That sounds pretty awesome, the 3 hour a day part. Now, what that lead generation tool is going to be, again, as the class and the course goes on, you will find which ones suit you best for your style and for the market of the moment. Go on to the next slide, Julie. Okay, so this is going to be the pillar, and again, we're in an introductory session right now, so we're just going to talk about all the different things that you are going to be covering. So today we've got the introduction. We're also going to talk a little bit about the validity and positioning. And then next week we'll be prospecting, then marketing, then leveraging the database, and then working with Mets. Mets are people we meet out in the real world. I think working with Mets is probably the best way to go. Farming, open houses, FSBOs, and agent referrals. And then we're going to move on to lead conversion and then living your goals. So this is the foundation that we're working on. You can see they designed it like a house so that at the end you have a complete package that you can reference year after year and go back to the pieces and keep working on and refining the process. Next slide, Joby. All right, so what's going to make this training experience great? And when I'm asking this question, this is to look at the entire program over the 12 weeks. And you guys kind of get to set your expectations on what it is that you would find valuable in this process. The guide here tells me that your participation, your involvement, and your cooperation, arrive on time, pay attention, ask questions, get involved. This is supposed to be a classroom-based setting. So there is going to be a lot of pushback on you. What do you think about this? I know there's only 3 of us in the room right now, so the conversation may be a little bit more intimate, but we will get to topics as we go on where we can share our experiences and apply them to today and pull it outside of the slideshow. So next one, Jody. So the power of one, this is where we actually get into the content of the participant guide. So if you're in the participant guide, let me just pull up my constructor version here. And just in case you're curious why it takes me a minute to scroll back and forth, is because the sequence of slides does not follow the sequence of the participant guide or the facilitator guide. So there's going to be elements where I'm scrolling further into the guide. So we're going to page 9 of the participant guide to reference this diagram so that we can talk about the formula that Gary wants us to use. For anyone who's curious, the power of one was an essay that Gary Keller wrote before he wrote the book, The One Thing. So a lot of the foundation of what we're talking about today is going to be kind of repetitious for those of us who have already done the one thing a number of times. This is the baby. They use this essay to create the book. So it is pretty neat. There is a copy of it in the facilitator's guide. It's not short, but it's not long. It's really an interesting read, but it talks about the core elements that we now know lead to the one thing and the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Guidebook. So Gary's been doing this for a long time, and he's done an incredible job of maintaining the continuity of his values and his beliefs. And it started with this essay, which is pretty cool when you think about how that refinement process and that ever circling cycle got Gary from an idea to an essay to a book to an actual philosophy. Doesn't matter whether you're with Keller Williams, Remax, Royal LePage, everybody knows these teachings. And we are privileged here at Keller Williams to be able to have these resources formatted in such a way that we can use them as a tool to help us grow. So this is a simple diagram that you'll see in here. It's more or less the straightforward equation, the timeless truth that doing one thing leads to another. So becoming really good at one thing will lead to other good things. The principle of greatest leverage: if you focus all of your attention onto one thing, you will be able to maximize the efficiency of that. The power of one, it all comes together. What comes out of that focus on one thing is achievement of your goal. And again, we'll go back to the cycle, and we just keep going around and around and around. So you can focus for a period of time on your one thing, and then that can change over time into something different. When I first started learning this stuff, I had a lot of resistance in my mind. And I would always be like, oh, there's never always more than one thing. This is a concept, a foundation of how we operate our business and how we utilize our time efficiently. Go to the next slide, Jody. All right, again, we're going to be a lot of repetitions here. Raise your hand if you have heard of or are familiar with the 80-20 principle that Gary talks about. Everything. Okay, so this comes from the very beginning foundation of the academic study of real estate that we all now know that we're all surrounded by. We've got these things pinned up on the wall. Other gurus and other trainers have adopted these same philosophies, but they stand the test of time. It's quite simple. We want to spend 80% of our time on the activities that generate us the most amount of money possible. What most of us do is we get caught in the trap where we do the reverse, and we spend 80% of our time doing tasks that only lead to 20% of the positive outcome. So you need to find a way to focus on the one thing. Then you can switch that 80-20 principle that you're spending 80% of your time on the one thing that gets you the best results. Next slide, Jody. Gary says once you master the one thing, it makes achieving mastery of the next thing that much easier. And I think that's a pretty standard expectation of education. You learn the basics, you learn more as you get to an advanced level, and eventually you become a master at what you're doing. The more we focus on that one thing, and in this concept for this course, the one thing is always lead generation, right? How we do it, we're going to get into that in other courses, but it's important to understand that in this particular concept in 36-12-3, the one thing is lead generation. So when we're talking about doing it a lot and becoming a master, we're talking about lead generation, prospecting, whatever you want to call it. By doing the right thing first, you create momentum in your life and in your business. I'm sure that all of us in this room and whoever's watching online have gotten to a point in our lives where we are overwhelmed and we don't know what to do or how to stop that scatter. And being able to pull back to the one thing will bring you back into your business in a way that will help you move forward past all the noise. So right now, what's all the noise? What are you guys feeling is more of a distraction than helping? You mentioned AI, right? So we've got the distraction of AI, social media. You're active on social media. Do you feel that you're using it in a way that benefits your business? Or is it just the fact that you're active on social media?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'll strategically go in to do business stuff and then I sometimes get lost in the weeds.
Fair enough, that's pretty typical. And I feel a lot of pressure, a lot of noise from all the external influences. And when you get busier, you've got clients telling you what they would like, you've got team partners telling you what they would like, you've got friends and family, you've got the internet, you've got gurus, you've got private training, you've got the brokerage, you've got compliance. So there's a lot of this noise. If we strip it all away and focus on lead generation, then the efforts we put in today will pay us in the future. So we're going to keep focusing on lead generation. We'll be a bit of a broken record, but it's because we're KW agents and we've learned a lot of this repetition. So now we can put it into practice. Now we know lead generation is important. Do you spend 8% of your focus on finding new business?
50-50.
50-50?
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Yeah, I'm probably even less. Realistically, if I think about my hours per day and the time I'm spending, is it 3 hours a day in lead generation? Cumulatively, yeah, responding to messages, reaching out to people, following up, talking to my marketing team, checking my ads, all of those various things. But those don't get me business. I'm focusing on the wrong 80-20. I'm busy, I've got a lot going on. So what this class is teaching all of us is to try to strip away the noise and focus on one thing. The more of these classes we participate in, the more involved we get, the more that will dawn on us what that is for us. Might be social media, might not be. If social media becomes too much of a distraction rather than a tool, then as a business function, we need to look at it from a different angle. Right? And we learned a lot from John Lee a couple of weeks ago at the AI course. And modern marketing is a lot different than what we've been taught. It's all a lot different than what this course is teaching. So we have to find a way to adapt this course material to our reality in this situation. But something like faceless profiles or just a branded profile seems to statistically get more business interaction than when we combine our social profile with our business page. So there's changing happening in consumer dynamics, and this book, or this course rather, that references so many of your books is based off of our individual process of finding what works for us and then do that so well. I've been doing this for 17 years, and every year I find that I have to find a different thing. Some years it is social media. Some years it's door knocking. Some years open houses do very well. You have to be open-minded to make that adjustment. Unless you're on a mega team that feeds you those leads for you, the rest of us are out there generating our own momentum.
Do you think the market has an influence on the one thing that we would work?
Yes,
If
I
we
do.
are, if we are in a buyer's market,
Exactly. We are in an unfamiliar position right now for most of us, and that is in a dominant buyer's market. It's pushing harder that way, and it's enduring longer than previous buyer's markets have. Normally, we get a little dip into a buyer's market, and then the market goes crazy. And then it swings right back to a seller's market, and we keep moving on with our life. We are now in a long-term sustained situation where the buyer's market is probably going to hold for a while. Of course, we need to adapt. We've spent all of our time for the last 5 years getting listings.
Yeah.
Now, we've got 47 listings. I've got 2 more coming this week. The team's probably got another 10. Great, we've got all these listings. What we need to do is find a way to leverage that momentum into attracting buyers. Right?
That's the challenge though,
That's
because
the
a lot of
challenge.
these listings will translate to buys, but no one's buying your house.
Correct,
So it's
correct. So now all of a sudden the listing is not a guaranteed paycheck.
Yeah,
It now is a lead source.
yeah,
Right? So now we're getting back into that game of now we're collecting leads. And again, we're jumping a little bit further a few weeks into the course on how to convert and what to do, but that's the whole concept. So there is an incredible lead source, listings. Now, large teams have an advantage because our listing pond is much bigger, right? We share that resource and we can feed off of each other in that way. If you're an independent or if you're on a smaller team, the expectation is you're still out there hustling and grinding, finding your own leads, converting your own leads, and generating your own business. So if you get a listing, you get 100% of the leads that come in from that. I'm not exactly sure how 705 works, but it's probably a similar margin because you don't have so many people that everyone manages their own client base, right? So how do you leverage that? How do you find more buyers? Do we use social media? Right? Can we get more vocal? Now we're getting into a whole other conversation about the specific tool that works for you to send the message that gets you the results you want. And that's a different class. So I'll try not to carry on too much. Just an introduction. Next slide, please. Thanks, Joey. Okay, again, the power of one. This is gonna be like a broken record, we're beating the dead horse, but it's really important to understand that our focus on lead gen will be the difference between 2026 being our best year ever, or 2026 being another challenging year with lots of shifts and adapting. Now, however you wanna run your business, that's fine by me, you do you. But if you want to scale and grow, if you want to reach that level of predictability and get off the roller coaster, then we need to start with the foundations, right? So this is an interesting visual. You've got 2 analogies here, and I do love good sports analogies. So we got bowling and we got dominoes. In bowling, you focus on hitting the first pin. And the chain reaction of that motion knocks the rest of the pins down with little to no effort. Same thing with dominoes. Once you push that first domino, the rest eventually fall in series. The challenge becomes for most of us is the aim, right? Very often, if you take the same image, we're actually hitting pin 7. And pin 7 drops and we get a deal or we get a little momentum, but the rest of the pins remain standing. Or we're in the middle of the domino string and we flip the domino in the middle without starting at the beginning and only get to halfway of our goal. So these 2 analogies are really poignant for the simple purpose of focusing on the one thing, your main priority in this business, which is lead generation. So we can, go off on the side, maybe 7 is social media, maybe 9 is referrals. At the end of the day, you have to be focusing on lead gen. Find what your one thing is and focus on that. And that supposedly will lead to success. And this is proven from like 30 years of practice. And anytime there's a challenge, we go back to the basics, and these systems still prove to be true. Well, next slide, Joey. We're cooking now. All right, so now we're getting a little bit introspective. We're going to think about things. What's under the hood of a great real estate career that keeps it successfully running and running and running. Lead generation. So, foundation of this course is lead generation. The one thing in this particular context is lead generation, lead generation, lead generation. We have a lot of analogies we use. Do you guys use any analogies yourself? Gary uses a car, right? Lead generation is the engine that keeps it running, right? Are we the passenger Are we the driver? Are you in the trunk of your car?
Some
Some days, right? And when we think about these analogies, I find it very practical to really think, and I tell my clients all the time. You're in the driver's seat. You have your foot on the gas pedal. You want me to go fast, we go fast. You wanna go slow, we go slow. As an agent, I am the co-pilot. I'm the one with the map. I'm the one that can explain the directions and where we're gonna go. We can get there faster, we can get there slow. So I'm big on analogies. So if any of you have an analogy that you use, maybe we can apply it to this aspect. Because I don't know anybody that loves lead generation. Actually, I do. I know a few people, but they are unicorns. And they become niche specialists at becoming inside sales associates or professional lead generators. And then they build these companies that try to sell leads back to us. So for them, it's easy. For us, it's difficult. We need to find a way to bridge that gap, get out of our own way and start finding what works for us. Not feeling bad that we're not doing everything perfectly, but just do something that works for us. In the same way you specifically chose your outfit because of your clients this afternoon, that is a conscious choice that we need to apply the same effort into what we're gonna do when we wake up in the morning when we don't have an appointment. Right? Now, 3 hours a day, they recommend that be a block of 3 hours. Protect your time, make it structured, focus that. And if we look at compounding, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, 21 hours, sometimes 52, you're gonna have hundreds of hours of lead generation by the end of the year. And I promise you this, whatever you started with at the beginning, you will come out that much more experienced, that much more prepared. I think back now when we did our presentation, Brennan, and how he focused his attention on cold calling. Right? And if you ever get off track, you go back to cold calling. You go back to the basics, you go back to what you know, you get your confidence back up, you get the momentum, and then you move forward. So Brennan is a great example of the power of one. Because he knows for him, at his core, at his foundation, that is his basic move, no matter what. And he can get stronger at it and get more comfortable at it. The first time he did it, terrible.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it, he was battling with his own brain, everything about it, he wanted to walk away from. How long did it take you until it became enjoyable?
6 months,
6 months,
7 months, yeah.
right? 6 months of one thing. That's commitment right there. Right? Would any of us spend 6 months on one thing, hoping and waiting that it will yield results? Most of us are too impatient, right? Most of us will do one thing for a week or two.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work, we assume it's the thing, not our habits. And the truth is, and Brendan is living truth proof of it, we are the result of our habits, not our beliefs. So we can think all we want, we can convince ourselves in our own mind why it would be better to go for a walk or to go for tea with a friend. At the end of the day, if you lose track of your foundation, you're forever going to be on that up and down the road. Next slide, please, Julie.
That could be good lead gen sources too,
Which,
like going for that tea with your friend or the
Yep.
walk, because you do connect with people.
if that's your
Right.
thing, then
Yeah.
make sure you got 3 hours a day, every day
Yeah.
of going for tea
Right.
with a different person. And if you did that, that would be 52 appointments a year.
Yeah,
Lead gen face to face, and in my opinion, the referrals you would get from that, it might take you to get into year 2 or year 3 of that practice. But you would be way ahead. The problem with that is commitment of other people. The ability to actually create a weekly appointment with a different person that you hope to intend to do business with, and then. It's a bit of a slower scale, but I recommend it. I absolutely, if that's your thing, if you're socially extroverted, that's gonna be your fastest way to generate leads. Another course that we'll get into in a few weeks from now is what do you do once you've got that? Right, you've got that lead. How do you categorize it? How do you keep track of it? How do you nurture it? That's not for today, that's for later, so we will get into specifics. But it really is a really neat point that you brought up. Because most of us would prefer face-to-face relationships. A lot of us don't trust the internet anymore. Social media is being inundated with fake and false videos and chatbots, and it's hard to know. So if you can get a face-to-face appointment, brilliant. You can do one a day, oh my God. You know, not only would you be the most popular person I know, but that is a testament to your ability to maintain social relationships.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, tea, hanging out at the park, friend groups, social clubs, wherever you're gonna be surrounded by other people who are in your world, you can relate to them, you'll be able to bridge that gap. If you're comfortable. Here's a really good example. I play on a competitive billiards league with my brother every Tuesday night, and we have for maybe 15 years. So every Tuesday night, I'm surrounded by about 120 people. The same 120 people, and we all compete against each other and we all get to know each other. I have a hang up. And my teammates and my brother have a hang up about me soliciting business while shooting pool. So when I was younger, I used to use it as a lead gen source, and every time I'd go to a table and play an opponent, shake their hand, hey, my name's Mike, oh, hey, you have a little interaction, be like, oh, I'm in real estate, no, you start chatting. Well, then I'm focusing on work, my game suffered, so it switched, and I started getting, so I no longer solicit business. But every day I walk into, or every week I walk into that facility, and I'm like, they're all here, my people are here. How do I take that? I got their names, I got their phone numbers, I got their emails. Okay, well, how do I take that to the next level? Right? And that's something I struggle with,
Yeah,
right? Same thing, maybe there's a friend group or, you know, what are you into? You like to hunt?
Oh.
Maybe jerky? What's your thing? You have a thing?
Barbecue.
Barbecue, food, right, so you like to, you have like have people over for the game, you like to cook for everybody, right? How would everybody feel if you did that every week with a different group of people and your goal was lead gen? It would change the dynamics of it. So we need to find ways, so that, I find that social, it's hard sometimes to bridge that gap. in my
yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and I've fallen victim of that too, like where I'm always thinking like, I gotta like pick up some leads here, you know, so I just don't even do that anymore. And this might sound a little wacky, but
I love wacky.
I just focus on intentionally caring about the people.
Yeah.
So for example, my daughter plays competitive soccer. I'm with the same parents a couple days a week for a few years now, right? So one of them, their mom passed away a few months ago. Didn't know the mom, like, you know, but know her, really like her, whatever, so sent her flowers, like just not because I was trying to yield business out of it, but just being a friend, like just showing that I care.
Yeah, you don't wanna
right?
come off as like a
Yeah,
predator or
like, exactly,
anything.
so like
Yeah.
I just remove like the business component from it, like
Mhm.
just be a person, just be genuine and just care about people.
Well,
People,
the genuine, authentic relationships are what get you to a successful closed transaction. We know them.
yeah,
How do you take it from a stranger, which is a lead in this concept, a prospect or someone that you don't know yet, unqualified person? How do you take them and nurture that relationship and lead to that professional side of it? And I think most of us are really good at working our referral network and, you know what I mean? We keep our business intimate, the clients we work with, they know us already, they know us, like us, trust us, and it makes the process easier. I think what we're all wondering and why we're sitting here in this class is we want to scale. We want to maybe do
yeah,
20-30% more business. We want to break that next level. Maybe we want to triple in scale. How do you do that? It's hard to do in the same way that I'm just like you, very organic, very natural, very trustworthy, very relationship based. So again, we'll get more into this in other weeks, but these are the kind of things that this class today is supposed to get us thinking about. Ourselves, our unique selves, what we value, and we'll get into it in the next hour when we get into the next side of the class. But these things all come together, and it starts with the foundation of us. What is our one thing? And it's not the spiritual version that the book asks you about. It's what's your one thing that you're gonna lean on when you're tired, when business dries up, when you're having a difficult time in your personal life, when stress is taking over, and when you know you can't not work, you have to do it. What's the one thing?
Yeah,
that you're gonna go to. Right? And for those of us who've been in the business a while and gone through the roller coaster, we know that when we're in that valley of despair, when we're at the deep, deep, deep part of that downward flow, it can get dark. And we pull ourselves out naturally by our own experiences and instincts. And it's different for you, it's different for you, and it's different for me. Learning what that is will set the foundation of what your one thing for lead generation is going to be. And if it's face-to-face interactions, then maybe becoming more intentional about it, learning some of the skills in later classes will allow you to bridge that gap between, like, same way, I feel uncomfortable approaching people in the pool hall. Meanwhile, every night I go, 2 or 3 people come up to me.
Yeah.
So I've made myself aware, and by not pursuing everybody so thirsty, I guess is the word they
Yeah.
use today, it's not desperate, but eager,
commission breath.
commission breath or whatever, then people start coming to me as an advisor. And again, working with people that you're intimately connected with, you have to be careful as well about balancing expectations. Sometimes I refer, I don't, you know what I mean, if it's too
Yeah.
intimate. But again, it's all about finding that thing. And I'll let you know, I'm still on a journey to find my thing. But if you think back to the last time you were like, oh my God, I got nothing. Where am I gonna get my next bit of business? That first instinct for you to rely on, like Brennan cold calling, do you have something, Rodrigo? Do you have something that, like,
My social media.
social media, you just, hey, I'm gonna jump on there, and do you get really heavy in the DMs? Or are you posting and trying to pull them to you?
It's pretty much what I post as soon as they start, I have now my own thing that they start following me, they start liking, then they start comments. When they start commenting, that's when I reach it, and then it's done.
That's
It's
when
a
you
done
attack,
Hmm?
it's when you attack.
Yes, but they are all open, right?
Yeah, they're.
I position myself and.
I didn't move to this slide. I mean, we were just talking naturally, but this is the slide that basically clarifies my ramble. What a nice haircut. Round of applause for Dave's new hair. Did you give a picture of me and then?
I wanna be like Mike.
I can give you a trend too, if you, you look a little floofy going there. So we talk about your goal, right? In this case, again, we're going back to the 36 transaction 12-month. The discipline is lead generation, the habit is every 3 hours. And then whatever that is, the 3 hours a day, dedicate to that. And the theory here, and again, it's proven over the test of time, that if you focus on the one thing, that you will get better at it and it will get stronger and everything else in your life will start to improve. Next slide, please, Jody.
So I will say, the lady that I sent flowers to, our team's now gonna be selling her house and we helped her buy a house. See how that happens. And it just did, like, it was just being genuine and
Yes.
just caring, it was with no ulterior motive whatsoever.
Well, that's the
That's how
difference, right? Because we all see, we've all heard that, you know, what I mean, so-and-so died at the death, and someone said, oh, you should call and sell their house. And then you're like,
Oh,
oh, you're like, I don't know, you get a bit of that ambulance chaser flavor,
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't know. And then somebody does do it, and they get the listing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
somebody with the experience of how to navigate it, same reason, like when I meet someone, they're like, I exclusively do business in the divorce arena. We get a divorce client, it's like. But to become a niche specialist, these people become highly referred, highly coveted, and they do a huge amount of business.
That is a great niche though.
It's a sad niche.
Well, yeah.
That if you're an empathetic or compassionate person can be difficult to do business in.
Yeah.
But in terms of statistical probability, divorce, death and birth. Those are gonna get you going, right? Sounds like you've already got a bit of a corner on the family vibe, the kids and the sports events and the interactions. I don't really participate as much in those types of events. I'm a little bit more introverted in big groups. Like if this room were full, I'd probably be losing my mind. The fact that there's only a few of us allows me to be more relaxed and have a more natural conversation. I wouldn't know who to look at. So there's elements to it, and once you know who you are as a person, then you can cater these things to a more efficient life.
Now, when we're saying lead generation and we're like 3 hours a day. Personally, I find that if I'm investing 2 or 3 hours in the morning, if it's social, that's what I do, and if it's a new post, a new stories or something, I find that during the whole day. I find if I'm the Costco line and there's an interaction there and someone that saw me or interact before. It's me.
Oh, okay.
And I try to see now that's, I changed my eyes, but the last year, that every time that I'm interacting with someone, if that can just turn to a lead generation, not by purpose, but just the conversations that we have, just like you're saying, like showing care, like you care about
Yeah.
their lives and what's going on, right? And sometimes someone, we meet somewhere and they say, oh, I saw your post, that's something, and then we start a conversation, so that to me is a lead generation.
Yeah.
Even though it's 7 o'clock at night
Oh, absolutely.
at the
And
grocery store. And
if we go back to that diagram of the foundation, then we stack on the skills and the pillars, and then it goes back to the house, right? That piece of it, though, one of the pillars is Mets. People that you have a face-to-face conversation with, that you get their name, their phone, they become someone within your authentic circle. You have got a great ability to create these relationships and nurture these relationships. Scale might be the challenge in that lead gen source. My next question about that one specifically is, I always, and this is, maybe I'm just weird, but I find that lead generation is very similar to dating.
Totally.
So if you're at Costco, you're looking at motor oil. And a person, we won't gender them, but a person comes by and you're like, oh. Strike up a conversation. At what point do you bridge that to get their phone number, their email address, you know what I mean? Like, it's like approaching a stranger at the grocery store and being like, oh, hey, you know what I mean, how you doing? How do you feel confident in that ability, or are you referring to the fact you know so many people?
Yeah, I
When you
think I
go out,
do. If we head to that point that we are talking about real estate, or let's say they're
you a
bringing.
card guy, you whip out a card?
I have something on the phone that I just a few times, there's an app that I put a phone to phone, this is my info, so I don't even have to give my business card anymore.
Oh, brilliant.
And so sometimes it's just knowing how much they wanna know, I offer my service, and I'm like, okay, we should go for a coffee or something, but if we're just talking about the market or because now people that I know, or they know me, the first question is, so how is real estate? How is the market?
Yes.
And then if I know they just wanna know what it is, but if they're serious about, oh, I'm like our neighborhood or family issue or something, that's when I step in and say, oh, we should talk, and so I try to make that conversation an appointment,
Yes.
right? And that to me, it's 24/7, so it can be leaving church, or it can be in a restaurant or grocery store, or going to an event with the kids.
So you guys are fairly similar, it sounds like, in the fact that you integrate lead generation in with your life.
Absolutely.
Now, this slide specifically talks about commitment. Do you intentionally go places every day looking for business? Or have you just found, again, after 17 years, it's just kind of like I said, at the pool, people just come to me now. Are we in a situation, especially for the three of us that sound very similar in our alignment, are we missing the mark because we're not structuring those 3 hours specifically with the intent and the goal of generating business? We're collecting Mets, right? We got all these great databases, we got friends, we're invited to go to dinner parties, although, do you get invited to go to dinner parties anymore?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't, I don't. Yeah,
And it's funny that every time that I go to a birthday party or something, there's always connection, someone there, so I try to be
so
available
an
and.
active social life is great, and for me, like I said, I'm a little more introverted, so when my day is done, like, I'll climb into a hole. You know what I mean? I will disappear, I will try to completely unwind, so the next day I've got enough energy to crush it again. I don't have an infinite battery bank, I'm not one of those types of people. So depending on who you are, I find that to be exceptionally exhausting. If I was structuring a dinner party every week. I would probably do it for 2 weeks and be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I didn't get a deal.
yeah,
And he's like, well, no, you gotta week after week after
I'm
week.
just doing
To
copy
me,
paste.
I need
Yeah.
to see people. I need to see people, I need to interact, I need to talk to someone that I haven't talked for. So I look for, not every day, but once a week.
Yeah.
Being specific with someone, and not sometimes about real estate, but connected, and then maybe from there comes something.
Well, I'm gonna challenge both of you and myself as well, as this course continues, to all of us participate as much as we can. And see if we can't apply the lessons we learn to figure out a way to systematize and structure how we like to do things. And I'm gonna encourage both of you to look into KW University, the METS program. It is all about us and all about how to interact with these people we met, right? So once you have their phone number, once you know who they are, if you see them at the grocery store and you recognize each other, these become your METs. And if you can develop 200-300 of these leads or these METs, the referrals start to flow easier. And then your skills about asking for referrals start to get easier. And we might be sitting here a year from now and you guys might be teaching, right? You might be going, you know what, I implemented a lot of this and I want to share what I've learned. And that's how we grow, right? Because we have to come together and collaborate. In the same way that Gary just gives us all of this wisdom and he builds off the foundation and then he refines it and then he refines it. And then we get the end result, right? So if we take the core lesson, which is the repetition of refinement, and this word right here that a lot of us struggle with, right? Commitment, right? Commitment.
Yeah, and that is the problem with like,
So I'll share something. For a few months, I did it, then I stopped because I got tired.
Yeah.
And I know that works. So because of social media and people, 50% that follows me, they want to know about what's going on, right? So I understood that every time that I post, if I'm in an open house or if I'm doing a showing and I record some.
I was gonna say, you have got a very magnetic personality on your videos, your voice, your demeanor. I can see why you get response from that.
And when I'm doing this and I put on the stories, just say, oh, this is beautiful home that I just visited. Every time I get a couple of comments, they said, oh, this is a beautiful home, and that's how I started. So if I want to connect with someone, I just go to a house, do a shooting, and some stories about, oh, take a look at this home, and I get a couple of interactions, and that's how I start my day. Now I used to do that purpose every week, then I got tired.
Yeah, well, again, the
You
commitment,
get
3
busy.
hours a day, focus on the one thing. And again, this is information, take it, leave it, use it, don't. The things that we hear constantly, if your brain's going, oh, I've heard that before, listen to that. There's a reason that after 35 years, we're still teaching this stuff, right? The concepts, the values, the systems, the habits, these things really do matter. And intent is important. We don't talk about intent, we don't talk about mental capacity, all those things, that's outside of the scope of this program. But in the sense of lead generation, commitment to the 3 hours a day is the difference. And it's simple compounding math. You do 3 hours a day, at the end of the year, you've done hundreds of hours of lead gen. And if you stay committed to that one thing, you will see results. And those results may be delayed. And that's one of the challenges of the roller coaster of this business, is the next wave you hit is from the efforts you made when you were in the valley of despair. If you can keep that momentum going, and now we're going to be talking about leverage, another topic, another day, but these things all come together. So you can see now in this introductory course, if you put all the building blocks together at the end of the 36-12-3 class of the 12 weeks, you should have a really solid blueprint of who you are as a professional and what you want to accomplish and how you're going to do it. And each one of these builds off that next brick. And when you're at the end of this course, you should feel quite secure in what you're doing. And it blends so well into what happens every November, which is goal setting, right? So we use 36-12-3 to help us remind ourselves of the foundation of focusing on lead gen. Then we apply what we put together over the next 12 weeks into our goal setting for next year. And then we implement some of these strategies. You sit down with Dave or myself or anybody here that can help you with some of that leverage. Maybe you need some admin support. Maybe you need some outside of the box, maybe you need some mental health support. Whatever it is that you need to become empowered, this is our opportunity going into October, November, and December to set ourselves up for the best 2026 ever, regardless of what happens in the market. Right? And I'm not gonna do the get your unfair share, or whatever the case may be. We all manage our businesses with our own intent, and you get tired, you take a break.
Yeah.
Right? I get tired, I climb into a hole and disappear. Right? You get tired, you whatever
You got some different things.
jazzes you up.
Depends on my mood.
Right, you socialize, you go out and you do things. You go pick apples or whatnot.
I walk. I go for walks.
You walk,
I walk.
there you go. So whatever we need to do to help us stay grounded so that we can get back to the commitment of the 3 hours a day is great. And yeah, there are a lot of people that get to a certain scale and they can offload some of this lead gen. Right? They got systems, automation, they got staff, they got resources. It's just a matter of scale and time, right? So. All right, now the fun part, we're gonna move on. And we're gonna get into the myths and the misconceptions about lead generation. This is a little bit more fast, so we're gonna kind of move through. We're gonna jump right to the next slide, Joby. There we go, perfect, thank you. All right, the 9 myths, we're gonna break these down. If you've got your participation guide in there, you'll see there's a whole big list. And you'll be able to kind of understand at a deeper level what the function of this class is. We're running out of time, so we're just gonna glaze over these things, but I will encourage you to take the time and go back through and go through each myth specifically. So not all leads are good leads. I fall victim to this myth. I will admit that. Not all leads are good leads. Well, maybe I'm cynical, but not all clients are good clients. So a bad lead could lead to a bad client. Knowing how to qualify the lead, and that's another class, that's another piece of this, right? But they want you to know the purpose of this in this concept is there are no bad leads in real estate, they're just not all equal. So being able to have a pre-existing, pre-qualifying criteria allows you to take a lead and turn it into a client much faster. And I don't know, do you have a client pre-qualifying questionnaire or is it organic for you?
Organic, no, maybe, but yes, I do have my 5-6 questions that are you ready 6 months, 2 years,
Right,
so, yeah.
do you have an onboarding client questionnaire, seller, buyer?
Yeah, similar like to that, like I have certain questions I just will organically ask in conversation, but then, depending who they are and where we're at, I may just send them the questionnaire, call it the discovery.
That's exactly, the discovery appointment,
Yeah.
get to know each other.
If I ask,
Right.
yeah, like if I don't.
You'd be surprised how many agents just skip that. Right?
Oh, no.
They go from, hey, I'm a stranger and I'm curious about real estate to, let's go look at a house.
Yeah, they're not even pre-approved.
They're not checking anything, they're just so excited to work. They want to get out of that valley of despair so bad that they'll forget that part. And this is an important component when we're going through lead generation to understand that these aren't bad leads. They're just not all equal. So on my team, I don't think anybody's paying attention or watching from my team today, but if I feel that I get a lead that I don't think is good or it doesn't fit me, I'll shop it out to the other team agents to see if there might be someone go, oh, I love that kind of person. I personally love, I don't know if it's appropriate to say, but I love really difficult clients. Like I love it when they're disbelievers. They think that we're all shysters. They don't believe in sales. They think that we're a waste of space. I love working with them.
Really?
Yes.
See, those are the ones that'd be funnily.
Those are the ones online I navigate to. Like, I'll be like, oh, I love your. Yeah, the world is a piece of shit, This is exactly why we need to meet, so I can talk to you about,
Yeah,
and then when I convert them,
it's very gratifying.
it's so gratifying, right? And then they switch from being a hater to being a cheerleader.
And they probably bring more leads to you.
Oh, absolutely.
They are the ones.
Absolutely, because these people are just prickly in general.
Yeah.
Right? They're miserable when they go out for dinner, they're miserable when they, you know, these just who they are. And I'm a people person, much like the two of you, so, and those people never get care.
Yeah.
It's why they're like that way. So when you give them attention and service and you break down their walls, eventually they're just good people underneath.
Yeah,
But they get overlooked by everybody because they're prickly,
true.
right? So I got this client, give them to me. Oh, I got this old lady, I'll go have tea with her every day. Right? I'll put in 150 hours into a deal. It's a relationship,
Yeah,
right? And so that's how it, so myth one, not all leads are good leads. The truth is, they're not all equal. Knowing the difference and how to qualify them will save you quite a bit. Next slide, Joey, please. Myth two, lead generation is really hard. Psychologically, yeah, I agree. I think it is hard. I fall prey to that myth too. I think we all do. So, you know, so this takes effort, this takes less effort, I'll do this. Right? Oh, I should get up and mow my lawn, but the hammock is in the perfect spot with the sun, and I'll only have an hour until it's in the shade. So you'll find me in the hammock. You'll find me in the hammock. No, the truth is lead generation is really simple and easy. So be careful that you don't confuse effort with enjoyment.
I fall victim to that one.
There we go,
I
we
do.
go. And again, that's, I think, again, for our generation, I don't know about you, but I was raised that I could be anything I wanted. I could do anything I wanted. I could be anyone I wanted. So now the I want voice in the back of my mind is quite strong. Well, and then oh, shut up. And now I live in the no, right? I tell my kids, no, everything's no. Not, oh, I want this, I want. Who's gonna give it to you? You gotta go get it. You want it, you gotta go get it. So there it is, effort with enjoyment. Next slide, please, Joey. This is fun. All right, I'm too busy, I don't have time. That's kind of sad, but I think we all feel that way because of society and culture. But there's 24 hours in every day.
Just an excuse we tell ourselves.
Correct. Last night, I didn't get home till 9 o'clock. Because I had late client appointments, I had one listing appointment in-house. It ran long, and then I had another listing appointment in my office. It ran long, and then we're doing a new, every October, we change all of our for sale signs and all of our marketing pink. And we raise money for the Georgian Bay Cancer Support Center. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we do a big community campaign. So before I could go home, I had to go to my listings and change all my signs from blue to pink. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go home. But I didn't. I did the signs, and then when I got home, it was late. I had to go back out to Elmvale, pick my daughter up from church youth group. Surprise, surprise. Then I got home, it was like 9:45. I had a little nibble of food and then started in on this class.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
And then I woke up at 6, kept working on this class because I want to be able to present the best way I can for the audience. And I haven't done this course 15 times. Do you know what I mean? This is my first time teaching this portion of the program. And they give you a facilitator guide, but it doesn't match the slides, right? The facilitator guide is 80 pages and you get 1 hour to present that content, right? So it becomes this challenge and I got really stressed out. And I was like, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Lead gen, totally different. You gotta be more intentional. You gotta be more committed. You gotta be more purposeful, right? If you don't wanna do it and you don't do it, we all know what you get, right? You get nothing, less than nothing, right? So it's not that hard. It's really simple. Just don't confuse effort with enjoyment. All right, next slide. We're on myth 3. Perfect. All right, 4. We'll jump over that. I don't have to lead generate. If I do a good job, people will just come to me. After a long period of time, I believe that is true. If you can have a long career where you consistently grow your database and do great work for lots of great people, you will build momentum and business will come to you. But that is not a lead gen source. That is not a predictable metrics. And every time there's a market shift or an industry change, we're in an industry change right now with the advent of AI. and the fact that there's a whole youth demographic getting a real estate license right now. And they have a much easier time navigating the online world. Whereas I'm still old school. If I could not have a smartphone, I'd be having a pager on my hip. That's it, a little flippy in my pocket. I'll call you when I can. I don't have time, I'm sorry, I don't have to lead generate. If I do a good job, people will just come to me. The truth, you do have to lead generate. Some people will find you, but not enough or soon enough. And that is the truth. If you wait for people to come to you, you don't get to pick when you do business. You don't get to pick who you do business with. If you just sit and wait, you get what you get. And a lot of us do, and a lot of us do fine with that, and that is okay. But in the sense of this course, you don't get to 36 deals a year in 12 months if you don't put in the intentional effort, if you're not committed to it, right? So even now, we haven't even gotten through half of the slides for this introductory course. And we already know, we can tell just based off the conversations, that consistency is probably our collective problem. Right? Not that we know what we like, we know what we're good at, we know what we want to focus on, we know what's worked for us in the past. And yet, we keep repeating the same patterns, right? It's like, do you got a closing next month? Neither do I. I had a closing yesterday. Now I gotta know how to budget really well to live off of that until the next one, right? I've got agents already calling going, well, I'm gonna write the rest of the year off. Whoa, it's October. You got November and December, put some deals together, make it happen, right? My favorite is an early January closing. Right? That's the business we're lead generating for now in October, is for early next year. And if you don't want to put the time in and you write off the rest of the year saying, oh, well, I did my 12 or 15 or 30 deals. The rest of the year, I'll just wait and see what comes to me. You're going to find yourself in January, February, or March going, oh my God, I'm at the valley of despair, this roller coaster of real estate. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And we've all been there. We're our own worst critics and we're always hard on ourselves. So these myths, not really myths, it's sort of more of a common sense, pay attention. Let's go to myth 5. Or we'll go to 6 or 7. 5's good. All right, thanks, Jody. I can't lead generate because I don't know what to do and I don't know what to say. Okay, it's practice, right? I don't think this is a myth. I think this is an excuse, right? One that we all make, every new agent makes. You ever wonder, you see a new agent come in, you're like, what are you getting wrong with this? And you go, oh, well, yeah, they just got their license, so they're going to be telling everybody. Well, yeah. Should we all do that? Should we all be proud of what we do? Should we not all be the experts in our neighborhood, our community, our social groups? Right? So I can't lead generate because I don't know what to do and I don't know what to say. Sounds a lot like dating, right? Hey man, did you get her number? No, I didn't get her number. Okay, we get no points for that. Like, you met someone great. You hear it all the time in the old newspaper ads. I met somebody at the top of the Empire State Building. We love at first sight. His name was John. Does anybody know John? It was on the Empire State. We need to do a better job when we collect these leads of categorizing them, maintaining them, and keeping them and nurturing them, right? Again, another course, but it all ties together. It's all connected to the one thing, which starts with the 3 hours a day of intentional lead generation, whatever that may be. Lead generation is a set of tasks and skills that are well understood and easily learned. Again, if Brendan was here, he would again talk about how easy it is to jump on the phone. He will call anybody, any time of day, any reason whatsoever, and he will strike up a conversation the same way you would at Costco, or you would at soccer practice or dance or whatever it is, the same way I would at the pool. The difference is he's been doing it consistently to the point now where it doesn't feel awkward, doesn't feel strange, it feels like a habit, right? All right, next. All right, I don't need to lead generate, I have enough business. I've said that. Anyone else? Yeah.
That backfires.
enough for the moment,
Yeah.
enough for your mental capacity, enough for your capacity is fine. But for your business's capacity, you never wanna take this mindset that you have enough. Right? Same thing where people are like, I'm gonna take the rest of the year as a write-off. They've done enough business up until October that they can take a break. What's gonna happen in January, February, there's gonna be the same agents that are in the next program trying to, how do I fire it back up? Right? Think of an old coal-fired train. If you stop shoveling coal in there, how long is it gonna take you after that engine cools to get the train moving again? And that's, again, it's not an analogy you're gonna find in the book, but it makes perfect sense in terms of lead generation. You gotta stand there with the shovel, pumping coal into that to keep it hot and moving. You wanna take a break, you wanna go get some water. Okay, but the train's gonna slow. And if you get off the train, as many of us do from time to time in our long careers, and we take a break. Getting back on that train, shoveling the coal, you're brand new again. You're day one. So you might as well just keep shoveling that coal a little bit, 3 hours a day, not 8 hours a day, not 24 hours a day, just 3. Just keep that stoked. And yeah, if you want to go 6 hours a day, doesn't equate to 72 deals a year. Right? It'll equate exponentially into as much as you can generate, as much as you can tolerate. You might, after that point, have to build a team. Or work on referral, find out whatever your limits and capacity are. Took me a long time to learn that my limits were okay. But I need to learn how to function a business within those limits. And rely on other people to keep the momentum going, so they can shovel coal for me. Right? So when I need a break, I can take a break. It's nice being on a team, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A good team that respects you and appreciates your authentic self.
Right.
It's a big difference, right? We're not just tools, we're partners, right? Myth 7, please, Jody. I don't have anyone to help me do everything that must be done. That's a big metaphor right there. Everything. Oh, that's heavy load. When you get enough of the kinds of leads that turn into closings, you will be able to afford the help you need. Again, this is alluding to leverage, and when you get to a point where you feel like you're got enough business, if you can maintain that hot coal where you can live at that, I've got enough business every week, every month, then you leverage that with support. And you bring in outside support, whether it's a executive assistant, maybe it's some type of partner, whatever it is, and then you can scale again from there. Let's go to myth 8. I don't have the money to lead generate. The truth is, lead generation doesn't have to cost money. We've been talking about, everything we've been talking about today has not been about money. Right? And 100% of the people in this room, their concern is not that I can't afford leads. This is something that the new era of agent is doing. They're getting into business, and the first thing they do is they're buying lead. They're going to a lead gen company, they're buying courses. The cost of all of these things balloons exponentially. So the modern real estate agent that's coming out, I can see them saying this a lot. I don't have money. I don't have enough resources. That's why we go back to basics. Walk through the neighborhood. That's free, a little bit of your time, right? Knock on some doors, build some relationships, make yourself available at Costco, invite people over for barbecues. Do something to get you in front of a human so you can grow your Mets, so that you can create referrals and you can build a long-lasting, sustainable relationship. If you just want to buy leads, that's not going to be the path to a long-term viable solution. Lead generation doesn't have to cost you money. It shouldn't cost you money. Lead generation in this business, which is human to human interaction, we do not sell houses online. We use the internet as a tool, but the internet does not sell the house. The relationship does. You don't get the listing signed because of the internet. You do it because at some point you took the lead, you had a conversation, you had a discovery meeting, a pre-qualification, and you made an impact, and you nurtured that relationship all the way to a closing. Those are the people that are gonna call you a week later and say, my sister, my brother, my friend, right? They wanna move to the area, great, no problem. Most of my business, my closed deals year after year, whether I try to do something new or not, still comes from the same source, and that's past client referrals. And those ones come in easy, they come in free, and they have the greatest return on investment. Right? It's easier to convert, and they listen to you from the beginning. Establish yourself as that professional. All right, let's go to the ninth myth. Ninth myth, I can't lead generate because I'm not a natural lead generator. Like I said, nobody really is. It's a skill that you have to learn, something you have to develop. And the 3 hours a day, eventually, you get better at it. What you accomplish in 3 hours at the beginning of your lead generation journey is going to be this much. And at the end of the year, doing 3 hours a day, what you accomplish in those 3 hours is probably going to be exponentially larger. The beginning of 3 hours a day, I didn't do much, I didn't accomplish anything. Wait, keep at it, keep the commitment and consistency going, and the rest will come. Next slide, Joey. All right, 36-12-3, the challenge. This is a whole other way that we're gonna get into. I just want to take a quick poll of the room. We've got a full other course to go through today as well, right? So I've got 4 hours of material and I've got a 2-hour window. Did you want to continue on the introduction? Do you want to get through this process? Or do you feel like you would benefit from moving on to the first actual course content, which is building validity and positioning in the market? What do we think?
Ready to move on?
We're good to move on?
Okay, I have showings at 2, so I had to leave by 1:45, so.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm not here to speak. This is supposed to be a facilitator, participant, where I have my guide and you've got yours. Everything we've talked about, if you go into the participant guide, blows it out.
Yeah.
Like, gives you diagrams, gives you images, gives you stories, gives you quotes from Gary Keller. I highly recommend the importance of that guide in understanding the deeper complexities. This is all very surface level, it's fortune cookie stuff, right? But I'm looking at the time and I don't know how I'm gonna get through it all, right? So if you're cool with the intro, you understand one thing here is lead generation, 36-12-3, 36 deals, 12 months, 3 hours a day of lead gen. And that's the foundation of the one thing for this concept. Then we can move on to the next set of slides. Is that okay, Joby? We're gonna kind of end this what do they call it? Introduction to the course, and we're gonna move on to the next course, which would be 1.1. And that is the building validity and positioning. We have that slideshow queued up.
Days out.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours a day of lead gen.
This is.
I don't wanna do that. All right, here we go, perfect. Let me close this. Let me get my facilitator guide going. To the slides, okay. Right. So it's gonna be a little bit different, we're getting into the content material. Joey, I'm just lining my slide up with your slide, just so that we're in the same spot. Now, this is the second course, so the beginning, it's the same as the other one, hey, pay attention, please, blah, 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 follow along. We're gonna skip all that, and we're just gonna jump in, Joey's course, page 7, slide 9. What do I have? My slide 9 and your slide 9 are different. Just give Joey and I a minute here. Oh, I got it, we're good. We're online now, perfect. So, okay, so here, and this is the funny part, here it says slide 9. In mine, it's slide 12. Okay, so we are good. We are good. That is the facilitator guide from the last course. Let's close that. Right, we're gonna jump through all the intro stuff and we're gonna get right into the class. Why are you here?
Who are you?
All right, who are you? The knowledge, attitude, skills, and beliefs you already have. Again, it makes sense that this course just follows a natural path. And we already talked a little bit about it in the introduction. We clearly didn't get through it because I'm kind of up on my pulpit here.
You
But
did a great job.
Yes, you are.
but we're gonna follow through. So again, go into Command Connect 36-12-3. Click on the first 3612, go in there, download the participant guide. We're now in course 2. And then again, it'll break it down a little bit clearer for you. All right. This is the old one. Just closing some windows so I don't inadvertently distract myself. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next slide. We're just gonna go through it together. We're gonna try to go as fast as we can, and we'll just cut it short like we did when we run out of time. And if either of you want the course material, it is at your fingertips.
You can ask.
Moving forward, all the other courses are gonna be one course, 1 day, 2 hours, you'll get through it. They just doubled up today because we're trying to squeeze 12 weeks of training into 10. So, yay. All right, 2 sources. Step 1, the words and phrases that you would use to describe yourself. And step 2, the words and phrases that others use to describe you. So if we're following along in our participant guides, there's going to be blank pages to take notes. There's going to be things to invoke thought. And this is one where I'm being told here to pose it to you guys to write down words and phrases that you would use to describe yourself in your participant guide. And then the words and phrases that others would use to describe yourself. If either of you are taking bold or have taken bold in the past, you might be encouraged right now to be putting up social media posts asking what people think of when they think of you.
Is that what you're doing that?
Yes.
I thought that's such a ballsy like post. I was like, oh, I don't know.
And here's the cracker.
But, like,
Here's the
that's
cracker.
scary.
I'm curious. I know why they're posting it, right? But I'm a comment snooper. I'm always curious. I find it entertaining. So I go through and I want to know, what do people think of it? So Chris Vale, the ATL, I believe at Energy, really nice guy, working agent, also getting on board with KW leadership, getting involved, trying to recruit and build these brokerages bigger, better and better, so that we can really dominate our market. And he put his out, and immediately I was like, oh, best real estate agent, blah, 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 blah. But I was reading all of his. And it was great dad, good friend, great sense of humor, WWF fan, all of his high school buddies, deep relationships, and comment after comment after comment after comment. And I was like, man, this guy's loved. Not one person recognized him as a real estate agent. Now, that's not to say they don't know he's an agent or he's not doing a good job, but the intention of that post is to get people to think, oh, great real estate agent. And what you actually end up getting is this tapestry of how the external world views you. And it's usually a lot better than we view it for ourselves,
For sure.
right? We're usually a lot harder on ourselves. So this exercise, in this grand scheme of things, while we're trying to find our way in this lead gen system, it's important to understand that you have your self-reflective view, and then you have the perceived view. And we need to remember that when we're creating a brand or we're looking for positioning or validating our professionalism, that's our external, right? A lot of new agents internally feel like they're absolute, well, what am I doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. Externally, that fake it till you make it, I'm not a fan of that, but it's almost the tricking of your mind to be expressing what you think or what you want others to feel of you. How we dress, how we speak, the language we use. It's not necessarily for us, it's the projection of what others perceive of us, right? How we feel about ourselves, that's deep. And I don't see a therapy coach here, so we're not gonna get into that.
I think they fired me.
Never, I hold that power. All right, we're gonna move on to the next slide. So a lot of this is gonna be about finding our unique value proposition or a unique selling proposition. Do either of you have a unique value proposition? Do you have a coined mission? Do you have a foundation of which the rest of your business operates?
Yes, I do.
You do.
I think in the beginning I struggled the first 6 months because with everything out there and you're trying to find a mentor, you try to find someone that you want to mimic, and then you figure out, no,
And-
I can't be that person, I have to be myself. And then you think, okay, what's my principles, what I really believe?
Mhm.
And when I started 4 years ago, writing down, like, this is what I believe, this is what I want, serve, this is what I want people to find once they work with me.
Perfect.
And that becomes the whole, so now someone works, they know I care about what they're going through, I enjoy, I serve, the word serve all the time because.
Yeah, and that's the
I put in
foundation of your brand,
Yeah,
right? Based off the foundation of your personal values. And that's again, this whole second or first course, the second part of today is about identifying who we are and what creates our personal unique value, right? Now, there is a piece of it that I will go through before we part ways, and there is a breakdown statistically of what buyers and sellers actually value in our professional services. And I found it illuminating last night as I was falling asleep trying to retain the information at how much time I'm spending on things that I think they think
Mhm.
are important, when statistically in the data shows us that it's less important. So what I think my value is not the same as the perceived value a client sees in me, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm a great negotiator, I'm a strong fiduciary, you know what I mean, I know the rules and regulations, I'm a protectionist, you know, I'm an advocate. They don't,
You just wanna know you care.
yeah,
what you're doing.
they just want you to answer the
Yeah.
phone, they want the support, they want you to do what makes their life easier,
Yeah.
find out what bothers them and then do that. And you'll get referrals all day long. But it does require some adaptation. So how do we describe ourselves? No matter what your story is, you are uniquely qualified. This is a little bit of like a fluff up. This chapter is like, hey, dig into yourself a little bit, find out who you are, what makes you tick. You've already got this squared away, so you're probably not gonna get a ton of value out of it, but it'd be a good refresher for you to go back through it, go back through the participant guide and go, oh, this piece I'm missing, or this piece I'm missing. And then for you and for myself, we don't really have maybe a concrete one to go through the process and create one. Again, you're on a team and I'm on a team, so a lot of our vision is attached to the team brand, right? A lot of the mission statement, for me anyways, a lot of it comes from our work with For Sale Georgia Bay. And that value grows exponentially. But if I ever leave, or the team ever decides to change, I still need the core of who I am and how I want to do things. So I've always struggled with this because I think about others before I think about myself, almost exclusively. I will put myself at a detriment or at a loss if it means I can satisfy or create happiness for another person. And those are great skills to have as a leader, but they're not the best skills to have when you're trying to scale and grow your independent business, right? So understanding these things is a big difference in how we're going to get to the end result. We're not going to take the same path to get there, but we're all trying to get to the same place, right? Your journey is yours and yours alone. Two-part process, examine your experiences and make it real estate relevant. So we've been talking a lot, we talked about dating a little bit, talking to people out in public, at sporting events, at community events, things like that. We need to make sure that our mindset when we're doing 36-12-3 is focused on real estate relevance. It has to be focused on that. And maybe for you, and I know for me, God, I'm just phone call after phone call after phone call. That's such a distraction, I shouldn't even have it. Part of that is how do we bridge the gap from social to professional, right? And we've all admitted that we kind of nurture this and then it's the waiting game when they're ready, because we don't want to apply direct pressure. I would imagine for all of us, if we want to scale or create a larger sustainable business flow, we have to move beyond that, right? We either need to find a way to shorten the path between met and closed, or we need to find other people to fill in those timeframes while we wait for those people. right? So I have a typical turnaround right now of 22 months. So I meet someone, by the time they close, it's often 2 years, right? Takes them longer to get qualified, save money. I don't generally deal in an executive or a high-end price bracket. So a lot of my clients are hardworking families. Maybe they've been divorced and they've got limited income. Sometimes someone's passed away and the only reason they can afford a home is because they just inherited a down payment. Different circumstances. So depending on who you work with, it will depend your lead gen source on who your niche is, right? As long as it's real estate relevant. And we get caught up, go, I did 3 hours of lead gen today. Be like, you did 3 hours of social media scrolling, right?
Mhm.
You sent some DMs, sent some texts. There's another program called Ninja Selling, which I'm a big fan of. And they just talk about 25 conversations a day. Whether it's text message, email, are you doing 25 conversations a day? Geez, no, I'm not. And the people who can maintain a high flow of communication, whether through systems or an effort, they're the ones who consistently are doing 50, 60 deals a year. And you look at them and go, how do you do that? They're like, oh, well, it just happens. Oh, it just happens. And you want to just slap them in the face. But it happens because they put the time in to build the foundation, to create the momentum, and it becomes a self-sustaining machine. A successful business looks successful because it's successful. When you're not successful, you almost have to convince the world you are. And that's where we have to go back to your positioning and your validation in the marketplace. Next slide, please, Joey. Part 1, examine your experience. Start with your resume, consider what you know. Think about your attitudes and beliefs. Part 2 is make it real estate relevant. So again, when you're going through your participant guide, it will guide you through the process of pulling this information in the deep parts of your mind that you'd never want to talk to, and you will start admitting to yourself the obvious limitations and challenges that you have in your business model. And you can see now, just after an hour and a half of talking, how the blocks all come together in this program. If you miss a class, it's no big deal. Luckily, we have all of the information on our KW command so that we can follow along ourselves. Feed it into ChatGPT, have it summarize, have it read the key points to you, put it in Speechify, turn it into an audiobook. The important thing is that we consume the information and we start to implement some of these tasks and these tools in here. So it's going to be hard to move forward with the next class unless you go through this guide and you actually put the work in to say, okay, this is what my resume is, this is what I know, this is my attitude, positive or negative, right? These are my beliefs, helpful or not helpful, and categorize them and know which ones to focus on. We have to get more intentional moving forward. The competition in this industry is going to explode. AI is going to take over lead generation in a big way. And if we're not there combating it in our real and authentic way, then we're going to see a complete dissolving economy when it comes to the real estate. People are going to buy and sell real estate differently. How they value us is going to shift dramatically. And those of us who are traditional people are going to have a hard time because we're not digital creatures, right? We prefer the real life stuff. So my whole plan for 2026 is more human interaction. More human interaction. Not sure exactly how I'm going to get there, but that's the goal. People are trusting people face to face. You get a dopamine hit, hormone levels spike when you have a real eye contact and smile at somebody. They smirk and they smile back. See, like these are real. You don't get that without being real. Same thing. There's 2 live people in this class. Is there anybody online, or did they all fall asleep? Is anybody still here, Jody?
We have 3 people
I'm
online.
here too.
Hey, there we go. There we go. So being here in real life, you're gonna have a much different experience than the people who are observing it online. Even the people, this is a recorded session, we're not gonna even get through 50% of the content. But again, this is an important lesson that this business is self-driven. No one is gonna make you do anything, which is one of the reasons we are attracted to the business in the first place, is to be free and flexible and not having anyone tell us what to do.
Yes.
Be your own boss and all these wonderful things. if you don't put some business structure into it, if you don't compartmentalize your brain between business and pleasure, and you just feed the I want, you're gonna have a hard time maintaining that momentum, and you're gonna be on that roller coaster twice a year. You're gonna go through the two peaks of the season that we have. We've got a seasonal flow through the summer, and then we usually have either a late fall or early winter flow. It's just a matter of our community, because we're heavily snow-based, right? So I call this market the pre-snow market. I wanna move before Christmas.
Yeah.
The summer market was, I wanna move before school starts, right? So there's always a catalyst for motivation, and those seasonal flows affect us heavily in Simcoe County. Down in Toronto, not so much, go Windsor way, definitely not. They actually see a growth of business in the winter because they don't have snow. Right, go down to Windsor, Chatham, Kent, where they only get a foot a year. Meanwhile, up here, we're snowing again, right? We're bare, devastating snow. So I would not be surprised, it'd be interesting, and please send me a text message or step into my office. When you get a call going, I can't deal with the snow another winter, I'm moving south.
Yeah.
Not Florida, but Chatham, Kent, Windsor, over in that area, affordable real estate. Much warmer temperatures. You know what I mean? It's a much different experience. So if it happens, let me know, and then I get genius points for being said.
And we refer business.
That's it, exactly. But nowadays though, there's a lot of agents that'll drive.
Yeah,
Right? There's a lot of agents who are hungry. You know?
yeah,
Next slide, please, Jody. I've been hungry, but I'll never, like, 2 hours is my limit.
yeah,
Right.
same here.
2 hours to tell people, within 2 hours of my home, no problem, which is a pretty far window.
Yeah, even that's a
I
lot.
generally don't go south of Bradford. I grew up in Aurora, Newmarket, and I still refer all my business.
Really?
Yeah, it's just serviceability, my battery, my ability to do it all. It's just, again, I've got a limited resource, I know that, so I'm a big fan of referrals,
Yeah,
right? I don't care if my units are number one units or blah, 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 blah. Whatever, I care about, not my GCI. I don't care about my gross, I care about my net. Right, what do I keep? Right, what am I earning, what am I bringing home for my family? So my metrics that I use for success are a lot different, right? Consider what buyers and sellers say they want. Now we're gonna get into some of the stats and data we were talking about, and the timing is pretty perfect. If you gotta go, you gotta go.
4 minutes.
Agent is honest and trustworthy. It's like a big one to us, right? It's like our honor code or code of ethics, what do clients think? Evidently, it's not such a big deal, 23%, okay? Agent's reputation, same, 23%. We work all this time to create we fight hard, oh, I can't have a bad social media review, oh my god, I pissed off a client, oh, I'm so upset. They don't really care so much. The reputation of the real estate agent, 36%, and the seller's agent is honestly trustworthy, 19%. So to sellers, that makes sense because your reputation is your sign, your face on their lawn, your credibility, your name, your ability to achieve that goal. The buyer side, it's a little bit different. And again, in your participant guide, there's a full breakdown. There's charts and charts and charts of different things and different stats, you know, and apparently negotiation skills are rather low. Not sure why. I find it super valuable because that's when I save or make a client money.
yeah,
But the consuming public doesn't think of it that way. They don't consciously perceive us as expert negotiators. That's partly because RICO makes us classify ourselves as sales representatives, which immediately comes with a sales resistance connotation. Nobody wants that, right? Why we can't be labeled as something different? We fought for years to be called realtor or agent. Still, nobody.
that
We
now.
can, yeah, we
Yeah.
fought for years so that we
Yeah.
could, yeah. But it doesn't change the consumer perspective, right? I have this conversation now where it's a funny one. Everyone's like, oh, you're broker of record, congratulations. What's that?
Yeah.
What's a broker of record? What's a broker?
Sounds fancy.
What's a real estate agent? What's a sales representative? What's a realtor? We have so many of these terminologies that it's completely diluted. And the consuming public doesn't know the difference nor care between a realtor, a real estate agent, a broker, or broker of record. They don't understand. Well, I think we all need to do a little bit better of expressing our unique value in a way that shows our commitment to the customer. We'll do next slide. if we can, Jody. Exercise, again, you don't have the guide, but when you do, when you get home and you fill it out, how you describe yourself, thoughtfully answer the question on page 11, your instructor will guide you from here. I am not going to take 20 minutes and guide you on this. This is, to me, the idea of this class now is we step away from the presentation and we go into the guides. And we go into a more traditional classroom setting where you would take 5 or 10 minutes, write some stuff down, and then we would have a further deeper discussion about what you wrote down in an effort to help you narrow down what your unique value proposition would be, or unique selling proposition.
And I have to go.
No problem. Thanks for
Guys.
hanging out. Thanks for participating.
Hi, guys.
We'll get you on board for next year. This will be you up here. Perfect. So you're cool if we skip this because you don't have your.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Next, thanks, Toby. Next slide. Collecting what others say, this is the next part of that same assignment, what other people say about you, and just like bold, they'll suggest. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your colleagues, talk to some coworkers, and if you have the social media tenacity, do the same thing they're doing with bold. Hey guys, when you think of me, what do you think about? Be prepared.
I'm
You-
trying that.
I wanted to do it because I wanted the ego boost.
Yeah, but what if someone like shatters your ego, right?
Out of every single one that I read, nobody's being mean.
Nobody's being mean.
No. They're all being fairly vague, it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
You know, you get to know the person from reading the comments, because it's like, oh, you know, the purple elephant, you're like, purple elephant, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, back in high school, I think you remember that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting, because social media is not just for business, and it's not just for personal, there's an overlap. And John Lee does suggest in 2025 and beyond, with the advent of AI, to separate them. To go against that advice,
I've been
right?
taught and
Everything.
I implement.
80% personal, 20% professional, you don't wanna overwhelm them.
Social media.
Right, so
And
apparently
then
there's a
big
shift,
again.
there's a shift. Yeah,
Oh.
there's a
You
shift
have like
happening.
2 pages you gotta manage.
Well, it depends who you listen to, but John Lee suggests 4 per platform,
4
per platform.
per platform.
Yes, so you would have a
God.
personal TikTok, you would have a professional TikTok, you would have an unbranded professional TikTok,
Oh my God.
and you would have an ambiguous, right, ambiguous page for lead generation, which I think in Canada and Ontario, that might not be
That's a lot.
compliant for advertising regulations, but the idea is to use each account to attract a different demographic of buyer or seller. So have a,
That makes sense.
yeah, have a buyers, social media lead gen just for attracting buyers. Have a social media lead gen just for attracting divorce clients. When you try to throw all of it in together and on top of your personal page,
Yeah, you just gave me an idea.
you're never gonna be able to target anybody. And then he's saying the AI algorithm is coming in, it's too confusing for AI to recognize. And all it's gonna do is, oh, Marlene is big into going for walks.
Right,
You're like, no, I need a real estate presence, so he's suggesting to have specific niche. For lead gen, and I can understand that because I get DMs now. From agents complaining about other agents in my personal Facebook page. And I'm like, get out of here, you know? So I get that, I can understand that for sure. All right,
so what do you think of when you think of me? Is that what,
Yep.
People are writing?
Yep.
Are you gonna try that? I'll do it if you do it, let's do it.
all right, let's do it,
Okay, let's do it.
let's do it.
What do you think?
When you think of me, I'll probably get a bunch of. And that's the thing, my brain immediately is, oh, my brother's gonna say something stupid, or
Yeah,
And treat-
that's mine too.
Or
like,
for
oh,
me, because I'm introverted, like, yes, I can turn it on,
Yeah,
but then I gotta turn it off. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like when I get home tonight, it's over.
yeah,
Like,
we
it's
need
done,
a little bit of a break.
Right?
Okay.
So for me, my big fear, the thing that's in my voice is, I'm gonna put it out there and I'm gonna get 0 comments.
Mm.
Which means no one really cares about me at all.
Okay,
No one gives a shit.
I'll leave a comment
Right.
if I see, so at least you have one.
Right,
But yeah, I know there is that thought too, right?
It's not, is my brother gonna say something embarrassing, or it's, what if nobody says anything?
Yeah,
What do you think when you think of me?
nothing.
Great, and then I see like Chris, and he's got like 800 comments. And everyone's like, you're the best, we love you, oh, you're the best dad, you're the best
David,
kid."
Chris.
Now, they didn't say anything about real estate, but that doesn't matter, he's getting the
Yeah.
interaction, he's getting the touches. And now he can call every single one of them and say, oh, hey, oh yeah, actually, I posted that because I'm in this course called Bold. And it's, oh yeah, and then now you segue into a real estate conversation and. Bada boom,
Oh,
bada
so
bang.
is that what so
Yeah.
then you gotta reach out and
Yep.
thank them for their comment, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
and just
for sure.
sort of like,
Yep. And that's what's great about Bold, is it actually just gives you the action steps,
Right,
right? And this is what we're doing this week, this is what these are your action steps. This course now, we're gonna get into it later, but again, the content is so vast. And 4 hours of the two, they gave me an impossible task, so I'm making lemonade out of the situation
you're
here.
doing a great
Right.
job.
So let's jump on to the next slide and see if that sparks any further conversation. Exercise, more exercise, collect testimonials, we were talking about doing this on social media, things like that.
Yeah.
Geez, almost time to pick my kid up from high school.
You can cut it if you need to go.
No, I still have a whole afternoon worth of broker record work to do,
Okay.
things like that, but keep my alarm on, so it keeps my day.
Check.
Cause I will completely lose track of time, as you can tell, I just
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah, we can move on to the next slide, please. We're gonna kind of jump through here. Stand apart from the crowd. Step 3, define your customer service. Step 4, create your value proposition. Step 5, create your unique sales proposition. Again, if you,
Is that different? Value.
I don't think it is. I think they're connected.
Yeah.
But if you start with your personal value, then how to apply it in a real estate business context for unique sales proposition. It's, again, they're just building off of that. So you start with how you feel about yourself, getting some feedback about what other people think about you, and then really introspectively think about what's unique about your value, right? You as a person, and then apply it to a real estate context and create your unique sales proposition from that. Unique sales, unique value, it's the same USP, UVP, whatever.
Right.
It's the same idea of you are an individual, you are special and unique in your own way. No two real estate agents do things the same way. What's unique about you as a person, and how does that benefit you and your clients in a real estate environment, right? So again, for you and I, we would probably be a little bit more altruistic. Our commitment, our compassion, our empathy, our desire to meet face to face. Doctors used to make house calls. Real estate agents used to make house calls. I still make house calls. For the clients who appreciate a house call, that is a beautiful, unique value that most agents now do deals without even communicating with a person. Send the documents, get them signed virtually, you know what I mean? It takes away the personal touch of it,
It does.
right?
Yeah.
So that's part of my personal value that I can apply to real estate, right? That interpersonal connection. But for people who don't value that, they're not gonna see it.
That's not.
So
true.
building this, going through the guide, going through the steps, at the end, you just magically are like, oh. A plus B, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and look at the end, here we got a draft.
Right.
Now, this is 2025, I'm pretty sure ChatGPT could walk you through this process and lead you on your unique value proposition pretty fast.
Yeah.
So use modern tools, but the lessons that have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
So that you know the foundation is strong. And then modern tools just make it more efficient. And then again, you can refine it. And that's what I do think there is value in AI for that regard, because you can have a conversation with it and say, you know what, that doesn't feel authentic to me.
Yeah. Give me
I want this, can it be more, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, yeah. And that becomes your personal professional mission statement. That if done properly, attached to your 3 hours a day of lead generation, those people will start to enter your world. Your Mets will grow, and then you'll all of a sudden have this massive database of people that you already have interaction with, that you've met, that you know, they know you, they like you, they trust you, maybe they follow you on social media, and then you can apply specific intent for lead generation on that database. And then, yeah, growth and happiness. This is another fun one here, this
one would be easy for us to see. Defining a customer service, and again, we go through all of the data that Keller Williams has created over all the years and all the studies they've done. And they come up with these great charts, they're all in the guide, again, you're gonna have fun when you download that. Help find the right home, 53% of buyers believe that the value of a real estate agent is in their ability to help find the right home.
That's crazy. Because that is so crazy to me, I know,
Right? Now, take me back to the beginning of my career when we didn't use the internet,
that would be.
100%. We were required in order to satisfy the need because there was no other need.
Exactly.
There was no online, there was no Sigma, there was no apps, there was no AI, there was nothing, right?
Yeah.
So again, I don't know the dates, this is supposed to be updated in 2024, but to me, I think in our market anyways, this number must be declining.
Yeah.
Because people are more self-sufficient. I get more people saying, hey, I saw this house, my friend sent me this house. I'm sending houses and they're like, nah, nah,
Yeah,
nah,
all the
nah,
time.
nah,
Yeah.
nah. Any way you can adjust the frequency of the emails to not come like random, like, yeah, sure, I can do it once a day. Okay. Yeah,
But they're on Realtor all day long, so they're like
Yeah.
going to find it before you do.
yeah. Oh, did you hear this sold? Oh, yeah, I saw it last night before I went to bed. You're like, oh,
Exactly.
shit, okay.
But that like, and when I meet with people, I always like mention that, like, we work together, like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be online.
You see something, yeah.
Exactly, like, it's a collective effort.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this number were to change, but look at the margin. That 53%, that's the most important thing, help find the right home.
That's why,
And then look how small everything else is, right?
yeah, like that.
Help buyer
like-
negotiate terms, 12%.
Yeah, I know, like, that should be 53.
That should be 100, you know? Help with price negotiations, like this is, and again, this is why I said, this is where I put my value. In things that they don't really care about, you know what I mean? So it's an eye opener when we go through this data. And when you do download the guide, it's American based, it comes from NAR. It comes from NAR, but the conversation is important, and the conversation is quite simply, we need to remember that we need to cater to what's important to the client. And what comes into these discovery calls and these pre-qualification questionnaires is to figure out, even when they don't know. Like very often they're like, oh, I don't really know. And you're like, I gotta be a bit of a detective here. I gotta keep asking the right questions over and over and over again until I find out, oh, they're selling this house because they wanna move, because they think it's gonna save their relationship. And then 3 months later, you've got 2 clients buying separate properties.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being able to keep digging into that, it becomes important. Help with paperwork, 6%. Who else is gonna do it? You know what I mean? So this kind of stuff's really interesting. So there's a lot of great resources in the participant guide. And I know that you're at a disadvantage because you don't have it, but you will when you get home.
Today, exactly, I'm gonna.
Now, here's the fun part about this whole course. Each participant guide is about 75 pages long, and each course has its own guide.
Oh, wow.
So it's not one participant guide.
Here I am thinking I could download the one.
No, for every single one. The amount of information here is enormous,
Wow.
right? So pick and choose the classes you want to come to, where you want to have this experience, where you can talk and share. And then also take time, maybe 3 hours worth, to go through the guide to get the lessons that Gary has left behind over all these years for us, right? So everything we're seeing on the slides are just a fraction of what's in the participant guide. So it would be great, again, if we all could go through it together, but time is not my strong suit. So next slide, please, and we'll probably end it after that, but we'll see where we land. All right. What services do you offer? Okay, so again, what we're doing here is coming through and thinking about what's important to the client. What do they value versus what we perceive value out, right? So analyzing the needs and wants, I think, of course, it's number one. That's the most important thing we talked about earlier, our pre-qualifying questionnaires and having these discovery appointments and really getting to know that authentic motivation behind why they're selling. Determining a price strategy, that's often something that we already carry with us everywhere we go based off the market of the moment. All of us right now have a very specific strategy, and that is not overpriced. Right? We have to be priced well, we have to be marketed well, and we have to be patient with this market. Advising on repairs, what we do, developing a marketing plan, evaluating offers, negotiating counter offers, preparing post-contract work lists, coordinating document preparation, reviewing closing documents, and assisting with post-closing. We've all seen those lists where these are the 150 tasks a real estate agent does. We need to find those tasks that complement our unique value proposition and find a way to find buyers and sellers who appreciate that value we put out. You're not going to be able to be an A+ at everything on that list of 140 items, but you pick the ones that you do excel at, and you try to find the people who appreciate that escalation, right? So they're like, wow, they're really good at communicating. When I call, they answer. When I send an email, they reply back. Those type of people hate working with professionals who don't return calls and don't return emails.
Yeah.
Those are then I get the call, your agent did it. Well, it's not they're bad and you're good. It's you should be working with a different type of personality.
Yeah.
And being able to express the type of personalities we have as a professional will help us attract the right type of buyers and sellers who we work well with. And if you're always putting off some sort of false image, that's when you have a really hard time because you can't get along with your clients. And then it becomes really unpleasant. This business becomes very unpleasant when you compromise that and just work with everybody. Right, so. All right, I think we're out of time, Joby. I know we didn't even hit half of either, but I'm happy to do a deeper dive on things at a later date. We're gonna call it now, but for anybody who's online, anybody who's listening, go ahead and download the participant guide, and we can have a little group discussion. We can tie in little bits of this into the 127 club, but we can kind of keep these things going.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank
I did the
you.
best I could within the limitations of my time.
You don't want to be here for 6 hours?